What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 10 pros and cons about living in Canada. Because as Americans, we really don't know what it's like actually living in Canada. And yet, a lot of Americans seriously talk about moving to Canada when we get fed up with life here in the United States. So today, I want to hear the arguments for why Canada is great and also some criticisms as well. And I think this is going to be very, very interesting to hear about. So let's take a look.
In this video, I will share with you 10 pros and cons to living in the birthplace of pineapple pizza.
Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, strike number one already. The birthplace of pineapple pizza. We already have one con of Canada. No offense to pineapple pizza lovers out there, but strike one.
So sorry about that. Pro number one, people are nice. And yes, you do hear people say sorry a lot.
Daddy.
In fact, there's a law called the Apology Act, and it says that just because someone says sorry, it doesn't mean that they are guilty. Like, for example...
Right. Well, first of all, this is very, very appropriate to be pro number one, because this is literally what Canada is known for here in the United States, being polite. And honestly, whether it's a stereotype or not, whether it's overblown or not, I think it sounds like an absolutely wonderful thing. This is absolutely, I mean, the fact that this is associated with Canada says something all on its own. People are more thoughtful, respectful, polite. You even needed to pass a law that you're not admitting guilt by saying sorry, because sorry is so commonly used in Canada. Here in America, you'd be hard pressed to get a sorry out of one of us. That is an admission of guilt that we did something wrong. Me? Did something wrong? And never. That's the American attitude.
Example in a car accident.
Daddy.
Now, this polite thing can be a con as well, because people are not straightforward. And I don't know about you, but I prefer someone be straightforward with me than give me a polite fake smile.
Oh, that is so interesting. So he turned the number one pro into a con. Everything has two sides to it, doesn't it? That's a really interesting observation. So, what do Canadians think about this? Is there any truth to this? If you live in a society where everyone is polite and everyone is nice, how do you tell when someone is bad, evil? Are there evil Canadians? Is that possible? All joking aside, we're all just human beings. And everyone has their frustrations and, gets angry at things. It's normal. It's okay. And yet in Canada, maybe you're taught to hold that in or bottle that up inside. That's not necessarily healthy. And what he's getting at is that people aren't as straightforward. If they have a criticism of you, maybe they're not willing to say it. But a true friend, the truth is, with your friends, your true friends or loved ones, you would want them to be straight up with you, straightforward, and tell you if something's wrong, if you're doing something wrong, or that's bugging them, or stuff like that. You want people to be straightforward. I think everyone appreciates that. So, I don't know. The con here is that Canadians maybe don't share their true feelings on things because you don't want to accidentally offend people, being worried about offending people. That can be a good thing, but it can be taken too far as well. Yeah, this makes sense to me.
You experience the 4 seasons within the year. It's beautiful to see the color of the leaves change with every season, but this can be a con too. Although it can be hot in the summer, it's very cold and dark in the winter.
Okay. Is is this what this video is going to be? It's pros that can also be twisted around and be cons, like pros and cons, like two sides of a coin or something. That's interesting. Okay, that sounds cool. I like this. The weather. Canada has all 4 seasons. Well, in the United States, we do here as well. And actually, this might be something that America has sort of a leg up on Canada. Sorry to say, but the American winters are definitely more mild, and Canada is known for being polite. It's also just as known for being cold and winter. That might also be overblown in America. A lot of Americans think that it's always winter in Canada, funny enough. Seriously. I mean, if you go north enough, isn't that kind of true Anyway. Yes. So, but Canada, comparing it to like all the countries around the world, maybe, is kind of similar to America, where you get a good all 4 seasons, but you do get quite a winter. So, yeah, it's kind of like give and take. But I bet the summer isn't as intense in Canada. That's cool. You probably get like a really lovely peak temperature in summertime, whereas in a lot of parts of America, it can just get too hot. Seriously, like just too hot. It's like disgusting. I know that's quite a thing to complain about, but you actually don't even want to go outside. It's so hot sometimes. Yeah.
And outside of summer, the weather is usually unpredictable. Now, during the winter, you will not feel cold inside your house, but I hate shoveling the snow and stepping into slush. Canada is the most multicultural country in the world.
Really? In the entire world? Is this true? I heard Canada is multicultural. There's a lot of immigration to Canada. That says something very, very positive about Canada. I think a lot of people all over the world in other countries choose Canada for a reason and are like, that's where I want to go. So it's like a compliment in that sense. So I just didn't know that Canada is the number 1 most multicultural country on the planet. Is that true? Like the most diversity, most cultures, most immigration? Like, is that all true?
Toronto is also the most multicultural city in the world.
Wow!
Here you can find a Chinatown, Koreatown, and many little countries throughout the city. So
that's really cool. That's very cool. Something that America is definitely sorely lacking. Like Americans, we don't know anything about other countries, other cultures, what's going on in the world, and our lack of a diverse population certainly contributes to that. Certainly, and it's just nice to be exposed to other cultures for stuff like food. Access to all these different kinds of foods and ways of thinking and ways of life. Yeah, that can be very positive.
No matter where you come from, you can always fit in. I think this can be a con as well. We are not a melting pot, so in many cases, people stick to their own kind or culture.
Let me roll this back a little bit. I haven't really heard this take very much. People stick to their own kind or own culture. That is not, that's okay. That doesn't have to be like this horrible racist idea. People want to be around people that they can relate to, that are similar to them. Like, especially if you're traveling to Canada and you're from a foreign country, you're probably going to befriend other people from your country that are also there. That's totally normal. You have shared experiences. So I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. The only way this becomes a bad thing is when it becomes like tribalism and different groups of people like being racist and judgmental and cruel to each other based on their culture and their country. That's where it's bad. So I think in the daily goings abouts of life, like, I don't know, say Toronto, for example. He said Toronto, very, very multicultural. As long as everyone can like go about the city, do your job, take part in city life, everyone's mingling and coexisting, and that's all fine and dandy. And then probably when they go hang out with their friends, or go do an activity, or go stay with their family, that's going to be their own people. They're probably, that's normal. So you can have both. You can have both a melting pot of society, and then like people kind of having their friend group or family group that hopefully it includes some people from all walks of life and different cultures, but human nature says that it's probably going to be, they're going to hang out with a lot of people that are like them. And again, it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. That's like saying that having different countries is a bad thing. Oh, like France is just full of French people. That's okay. That's fine. And they all talk, like it makes sense in a way. Anyway, let's keep going. So pro and con, I can kind of see that.
Canada is a liberal country and accepting of everyone. We legalized gay marriage in 2005. The people that work in the government...
Wow, it's still kind of crazy that it took till 2005. That's not that long ago. Gay marriage was legalized. I don't know when it was in the United States, exactly what year, but it's pretty crazy how recently, like, that was put into law, just like 20 years ago. Yeah, openness and acceptedness, acceptance, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, progressiveness, that's all good.
Governments are half men, half women, and many come from different backgrounds. In fact...
Wait, what did they say? The government is half men, half women?
People that work in the government are half men, half women.
Is that like mandated by the government? Like it has to be 50% men, 50% women? I mean, honestly, arguably that makes the most sense because the government is supposed to represent the population, and the population of humankind is 50% men, 50% women. I don't think that's really how we do it in America, but I don't think it's a law or anything here, but we have made an effort, a concerted effort, like Canada, to get a lot more women into the government and politics, I believe, over the last few years, which is good.
And many come from different backgrounds. In fact, our defense minister is Sikh. Growing and smoking weed is legal. You can order it online from a government website. Choose the type you like, and it gets delivered straight to your home.
I wasn't expecting this in this. I mean, for some people, this is a huge pro, isn't it? It is sad here in America that it's only legal in some of the states. So some people are committing a crime in some states. Some people are totally fine in other states. There's people in prison in America for marijuana-related crimes. So that's all a bit sad. So overall, I don't know. I'm kind of curious what Canadians think. You're the ones that legalized weed, actually. And how's that going? Probably seems fine. Not really a big deal. That's how most people think about it here in the United States. Like, okay, like you can smoke. Why not smoke this thing? So overall, a pro for a lot of people who want it for medical use, for sure. And recreational. Is there a con to this?
The con is that as an extreme liberal country...
No, he's talking about something else entirely. So the con to that would be if you can really do that in public, there probably is like an odor or smell. Is that the only thing? Yeah, if you don't want to be around it, that I could see that being a problem or annoying if you're the kind of person who just doesn't want to be around that. But you could say the same exact thing for smoking tobacco. So, yeah, okay.
Liberal country.
Okay, so this is a con about...
Gets delivered straight to your home. The con is that as an extreme liberal country, our culture has become very politically correct. So you better watch what you say.
This is just how the world has changed. Definitely because of the internet. you have to be very, very, very careful about what you say these days. You do have to be politically correct in America. That is absolutely true. There's certain things that there's things that you should not say and shouldn't be said, and everyone can agree on that. And then there's things that are like kind of gray in the middle ground where you would like there to be a discussion about certain topics, but these are taboo. You can't have certain opinions on certain things. And as an American, we're super obsessed with free speech and being able to say whatever you think. So maybe this is the American in me coming out here, but for the most part, I think you should be able to say what you think about things, even if it is hurtful, even if it's not popular, because as horrible as those words can be, that is one of the main ways humanity progresses through conversation and by determining what is good and what is bad, and in order to determine what is bad, you need bad people to say bad things and everyone say, hey, that's bad, no. But if you just shut them up, and then what gets shut up? How do you decide what can be talked about? And, it's a bit of a slippery slope. Anyway, I don't mean to ramble too much about that, but as an American who likes to talk a lot, I guess I'm a little passionate about just being able to speak, and that also means people have the right to say what they think about you. If what you're saying is stupid or bad or hurtful, they should be able to say that back to you. And what they think, everyone. It can be, maybe that's the most chaotic opinion, and it inevitably leads to people being hurt, but that unfortunately may be necessary for people's feelings to be hurt in order for society to go on and progress, unfortunately. Anyway, I don't mean to get too philosophical about that, but that's a big point of contention in America. Seems to be also in Canada.
Canada's the most educated country in the world. 56% of adults have received an education after high school.
Wow. The most educated country in the world. That's huge. That's incredible. And that's probably why Canada has seen so much success as a country, as a relatively small country as well. That's amazing. That's only a good thing. When so much of your population is so educated, that really only leads to good things. So I think that's amazing.
Education in Canada is expensive. It may be cheap compared to the US, but it's...
I was just about to say, education in Canada is expensive? I've heard the opposite. I've heard it's affordable. So what's the truth about this? Because absolutely, here in America, education in college and university, it's outrageous. It's famous for being expensive. You have to take out pretty massive loans or get scholarships to help pay for your education in America. This is just normal in America that you're gonna go into debt, and a fair amount of debt, to be honest. I know from personal experience on this. So this is a funny one, hearing that education is expensive in Canada. But he already said, well, not compared to America. Okay.
On average, an undergrad will cost $6,838 a year.
Huh. $6,800 a year? That's fantastic. I'm gonna have to disagree with this. That's an amazing price. That's per year, that's not per semester. You can find that per semester in some small colleges in America. This is per year? 6,800 Canadian? That's 5,600 American or something. I don't really know the conversion exactly. 80% of this. That'd be amazing for a yearly tuition. Every American would be going. But in Canada, Well, don't get me wrong. That's a lot of money. And not everyone is going to have that. It's just hard for me to relate to it as an American. I'm like, that's great. That's a great price. Most Canadians probably don't like immediately think about taking out a loan. I'm thinking of this in terms of taking out a loan. Maybe that's just a preposterous idea for Canadians. Maybe so in Canada you're probably wanting to pay with this with your own money. In which case that's difficult to just come up with $6,800 like extra for school. Okay. In that kind of sense, I can see where that could be hard. But yeah, I can't help but compare this to America. It's actually been quite fun for me, this video, to compare all of these pros and cons of life in Canada to life in America. It's really eye-opening to me, actually. But we've been at this quite a while. I didn't realize this video was going to be so long. We're only halfway through. Somehow we're only halfway through this video. I don't know how. So I think I'm going to have to stop here for now and continue the rest of this in part 2. So if you've enjoyed this so far, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these pros and cons of life in Canada. And if you're interested in more videos like this, or part 2 of this video, feel free to subscribe for more of me learning and reacting to Canada and Canadian culture. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.